It may be hard to imagine, but 3 homes once sat on this very lot. They burnt down and were torn down after a devastating fire just a few weeks ago. As flames tore through each of the 3 buildings that night, a Mayday call came from the 2nd floor of the home, which once sat right here. In the early morning hours of January 6th, Providence's Bedoin Street filled with first responders. More than 100 firefighters battling the flames that extended to several homes on the street. Dan Rinaldi and Jay LaSalle were inside one of them. They were mid-check when they deemed it unsafe to continue.
I know I went down on my stomach, like flat on the floor on my stomach. I know Jay went down, and Jay actually had his ears get burnt a little bit right through his hood, his firefighting hood that we have for protection. So it was like to that level of heat. It would have been reckless, actually, to go in any further than we did at that point.
So they pressed on to another home.
When you looked at this house, you just know, okay, I have a little bit of a fire in the loft. We do this every single day.
The pair refilled their air supply and went inside the next building.
On the 2nd floor, exposure 4.1. We're working our way up.
I was going to poke a hole and see how bad it was in the front of the loft. And I heard the crash. And I stepped back, and it went from had been seen clearly across the room to I couldn't see a thing, just black smoke and fire. And my first thought was, okay, I'm trapped. Where's Danny?
Everything went haywire. I'm feeling myself getting crushed down into the floor. And at that point, I honestly thought it was the ceiling coming down. I worked with Billy, and he's a big old strong galoot. I thought he pulled the ceiling down, and it was like, how did he pull this whole thing down in one pull? I was impressed, don't get me wrong, but I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he pulled the whole ceiling down in one shot like that.
15 feet and a ton of debris now separated Jay and Danny.
So I yelled out for Danny, and instead of hearing him standing around, he's yelling from down under stuff over here. So I got down and I crawled into him, and that's when he told me that he's trapped and his radio's broken.
And I yelled out to Jay, you need to transmit a Mayday for me, tell him there's been a collapse on the 2nd floor and I'm trapped, I cannot get out. And then Jay took it from there.
And I called out, Mayday, 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 we're trapped on the 2nd floor.
Trapped on the 2nd floor! 92! Inside the kitchen of exposure 4.1!
After Jay had transmitted the Mayday for me, I had called over to him saying, can you find the hose line that was on this floor, because I'm on fire right now. I could feel myself burning. I could see fire all around me.
Hey Jay, can you get water on them?
With the assist of Engine 8, who had now made their way upstairs, Jay got the hose line to Danny, who was now focused on freeing his trapped leg, until he came to a big realization.
And I get that foot dug out, but in the process of it, I'm feeling something that feels like shingles. And I'm like, shingles? That's when it dawned on me. I'm like, I have the whole top of this building on me right now. I am in huge trouble. And I felt my left leg, and I knew that I was not getting that leg out.
Hey, where'd you bring out water on the fire? Company's in there on the 2nd floor. Make way.
As Danny comes to this realization, Jay is working with other engines who are now putting out the flames on the 1st floor and trying to get up to the pair stuck on the 2nd.
The fire on the 1st floor has been knocked down. Edge 12 is moving up to the 2nd.
So I get over to the stairs, and I'm yelling down to them. I come back to Danny because I don't want to leave him for more than a couple seconds, because I don't want him to feel like he's by himself. He's only 15 feet away from me, but with all the noise and everything going on, it's very hard to yell to him. I don't want him to just think I'm gone.
Jay was running out of air, pacing back and forth to help his partner, who was now weighing the odds of survival.
You can't kill 10 people to save one. That's just how it is. I have an understanding of that. I know this is how it goes. And, I didn't think I was being over dramatic about it, because given the situation and what I was looking at, I think it was a realistic conclusion, to come to, thinking that, okay, there may be nobody coming to get you at this point.
It was time to come up with a plan.
The plan for myself was, I can fight as hard as I can to try and get this left leg, unpinned and give it everything I got. Or I can try and conserve my air, use certain breathing techniques to slow your heart rate down and, make your air last as long as possible. So between those two choices, I know my leg was never coming out under my own power. I'm not going to exert any energy and use all the air I have trying to, unpin that. I'm going to try and conserve my air.
Special hazards come in. Hey, go ahead, special hazards. Engine 3, special hazards. We're with the town member. His leg is strapped. He's trying to get to work. He's talking to us. We're going to get him on track. And maybe get a couple companies or a couple guys who are going to try to get this smoke off from Pink Monkeys.
In the nick of time, Jay directed another crew up the stairwell to Danny, hoping to get him some air.
I tell him he's on the end of this line, 12 feet, 15 feet that way. Just follow this line. He's right there. He's right there. Go, go, go. And I stand up in the stairwell. There's a window that's been broken out, and I take my mask off because I'm out of air, and I just stand in the stairwell at this point. I don't want to go out because I don't want to impede them coming up with tools and guys to get him out. But I can't help him. If I go back in and try and help, I can end up causing a problem, not helping. I'm not fixing the situation. I'm causing another problem to be fixed. You know what I'm saying? I don't have air. I don't have any way of helping him. There's nothing I can do but stand in the stairwell.
Did you feel helpless?
Very. That's when it really started to hit me how bad this was. And up until that point, I had a job. I had something to do. At every point, I could keep moving. But standing in that stairwell, I'm thinking, Danny, when I got on 12 years ago, was one of the senior guys. He was a mentor. He was someone to look up to. Now he's a good friend. He's someone I work with regularly. I'm thinking, I'm watching him die. I'm out of air. We got our bottles at the same time. He's got to be out of air, and they're still trying to get to him with the pack. They're still trying to get him on air. They're doing a great job. They're moving very fast. But if I'm out of air, he is.
Crews got Danny air just as his supply was running out. They then brought up the jaws of life to extricate him.
I've been to enough incidences, on this job in my 29 years where I realize when people are frantic all over the place, it makes it much more difficult to formulate, a plan to help that person. Even though we're professionals and that's what we train to do and we do it every day, it's still, it's not as easy as if somebody's calm as can be. So I even made, a mental, a mental note in my own head saying, if they ought to come in here and they ought to get to you, act like nothing is all is happening. Like ice water's running through your veins and there's, yep, we're fine, we'll make this happen and everything's all good.
Jay tells us Danny remained eerily calm the entire time. He even had a smile on his face as he was taken out on a stretcher and lifted into the ambulance.
He's out because of the guys you work with and the ladies that you work with, that they did their job, beyond expectation to get him out.
Every single person that was on that, fire scene that night did something that was vital, to the outcome of it.
Gives you confidence going into those situations, knowing that you've got a great group of people you work with that, you can rely on.
Hours after the fire here on Bedoin Street, officials did pull a body from the rubble. Dan telling us earlier today that even though his life being saved was a near miss for the Providence Fire Department, this fire is still a tragedy for the Providence community. Reporting in Providence, I'm Caroline Goggin, Eyewitness News.